Business and political leaders paid glowing tribute to the fallen Safaricom Chief Executive Officer, Bob Collymore, terming him as one who revolutionized the telecommunication sector in the country. Moments of emotion and deep reflection punctuated the 4-hour memorial service that even though Bob leaves the giant telco with the task of finding a replacement, he has left remarkable gains and structures to build on. Sam Gituku attended the memorial service and starts off our bulletin tonight.
It was a rare gathering of high and mighty in both the political and corporate worlds, here to pay tribute to a man they had grown to admire for the 9 years he served at the helm of Safaricom Limited. A man who had grown to be a household name for his presence in not just Safaricom products but the daily lives of Kenyans. But for some, it was difficult to fathom what had just happened.
Over the last 15 years, I went from being amused by this white man in a black body, pretending to be a very serious corporate person, to really becoming a serious corporate leader, to the only man whom I loved and desperately wanted to live forever. But somehow God had other plans. Farewell, my friend, and God rest your soul.
Michael Joseph was Bob's predecessor at Safaricom and our successor, albeit temporarily. A man without a college degree had grown from stacking shelves at British Telecom, a job that defined what he became in his later years. Collymore rose through the ranks in the mobile handsets market into Vodafone in South Africa, his last stint before joining Safaricom. All through, his value system was consistent.
I saw a man that was guided by a strong moral compass of what's right and a real desire to make a positive difference to society.
Bob, you are totally against corruption, and you told me, Esther, I have a wife, I have a mother and children. I cannot afford to live an unethical life. What will I tell them?
Safaricom has become the most profitable company in the country, growing from a low of 13 billion shillings in 2011, which was a decline in his first year in office, to 63 billion shillings this year, the final announcement of Collymore.
One must leave when the applause is loudest. Bob left when the applause was loudest.
M-Pesa, at the time he took over, transacted 814 billion in that year. It's risen to 11.7 trillion shillings, essentially a trillion shillings a month.
In Bob, Safaricom had a visionary leader, a courageous man, and it is with that same vision and courage that we must approach the future.
And we spent almost 3-4 hours talking about nothing else but what he saw as his vision and what he thought I should be focused on in terms of my own legacy as President of the Republic, the focus on the focus on corruption, and a fight that must be won, the issue of how do we deal with the moral fabric of our society that has collapsed.
Bob Collymore was not just a business leader in Kenya. He was not just a successful corporate business leader in Kenya. He inspired and influenced government policy.
This was a selfless man.
Away from his corporate focus, Mona spoke of Bob's social impact, citing him as one who impacted everyone he interacted with.
The question Bob Collymore asks of us is this: what deposit do you leave for your country?
That for any of us here, when our time comes, as it surely and will come, if we are able to provoke even a fraction as much sincerity and admiration, genuine grief at loss, and genuine celebration at example, we will be very lucky indeed.
He had only been in Kenya for about 10 years. What a great example and lesson for all of us here today who have lived in Kenya over 10 years.
Speak out when you think something is not fair. Be considerate to those around you, especially for who and what is smaller than you. Because a person's a person, no matter how small.
A man so adored, a man remembered for things he did right, a man many wish could be emulated, yet emulation is personal, for a man has left a legacy that shall live for generations to come. Sam Gituku, Citizen TV, at the All Saints Cathedral, Nairobi.